Epilobium. Epilobium is a genus of flowering plants in the family Onagraceae, containing about 197 species. The genus has a worldwide distribution. It is most prevalent in the subarctic, temperate and subantarctic regions, whereas in the subtropics and tropics Epilobium species are restricted to the cool montane biomes, such as the New Guinea Highlands. The taxonomy of the genus has varied between different botanists, but the modern trend is to include the previously recognized genera Boisduvalia, Pyrogennema and Zauschneria within Epilobium. Chamerion, previously Chamerion, is considered distinct, however, according to Peter H. Raven, who has extensively studied the willowherbs, and merges the other segregate genera into Epilobium. Fringed willowherb Epilobium ciliatum is likely a cryptic species complex. Apparently these plants also commonly hybridize with their congeners. Most species are known by the common name willowherbs for their willow-like leaves. Those that were once separated in Boisduvalia are called spike-primroses or boisduvalias. Those Epilobium species previously placed in the Chamaenerion group and known as fireweeds are now segregated into the genus Chamaenerion. Description: Epilobiums are mostly herbaceous plants, either annual or perennial. A few are subshrubs. The leaves are opposite or rarely whorled, simple and ovate to lanceolate in shape. The flowers are actinomorphic, radially symmetrical with 4 petals that may be notched. These are usually smallish and pink in most species, but red, orange, or yellow in a few. The fruit is a slender cylindrical capsule containing numerous seeds embedded in fine, soft silky fluff, which disperses the seeds very effectively in the wind. A number of Epilobium species with slightly asymmetrical zygomorphic, magenta flowers and alternate leaves were placed in a Chamaenerion group and have been separated by some authorities into the genus Chamerion. However, Chamerion has not been universally accepted, and there is now emerging consensus that this group of species should be segregated into the genus Chamaenerion. Habitat and ecology. Willowherbs sensulato are typically very quick to carpet large swathes of ground and may become key or dominant species of local ecosystems. In the United Kingdom, for example, rosebay willowherb Chamaenerion angustifolium is widely found on mesotrophic soils dominated by false oatgrassa henithorum, elatius, cocksfoot grass dactylis glomerata, and red fescue festuca rubra, while great willowherb Epilobium hirsutum is found in mesotrophic. These 2 willowherb species also dominate open habitat early in ecological succession, to the virtual exclusion of other plant life. Broad-leaved willowherb Epilobium montanum is found characteristically, though not abundantly, in the mesotrophic grasslands with meadow wheat-like Jula ulmaria and sometimes the uncommon Greek valerian, Pulmonium caeruleum. Most willowherbs will not tolerate shade trees and thus are limited to more recently disturbed patches, yielding to other plants over time. Consequently, though the genus contains many pioneer plants, rather few of them are invasive weeds of major importance. Epilobium species are used as food plants by the caterpillars of certain Lepidoptera species, including Geometridae. Gray pug Eupathecia subfuscata, recorded on several species Noctuidae. Mouse moth Amphipyra tragipagenes, recorded on several species. Small angle shades Euplexia lucipara, recorded on several species. Australian grapevine moth Phalaenoides glycinae, recorded on fringed willowherb E. ciliatum sphingidae. Elephant hawk moth Deilephila elpiner, recorded on several species. Small elephant hawk moth Deilephila porcellus, recorded on several species. White-lined Sphinx Hyles lineata, recorded on several species. Use by humans. The main use of Epilobium by humans is as a herbal supplement in the treatment of prostate, bladder incontinence, and hormone disorders. Many of the small willowherb species are nuisance weeds in gardens. Though few are regularly used as ornamental plants, the larger willowherbs may be attractive in rural locales. One of the most frequently recognized members of the genus is the circumboreal fireweed E. angustifolium, known as rosebay willowherb in the United Kingdom. It rapidly colonizes burnt ground during the bombing of London in World War II. Many of the derelict bomb sites were soon covered with these plants, bringing a splash of color to what was otherwise a very grim scene. It is the floral emblem of Yukon in Canada, Hedmark in Norway where it is called J-trams, and southern Ostrobothnia in Finland. Fireweed is used as a sweetener in northwestern North America. It is put in candy, jellies, ice cream, syrup, and as use some Indian ice cream. In the late summer its flowers yield pollen and copious nectar which give a rich spicy honey. Its young leaves, roots, and shoots are edible if somewhat bitter, and rich in provitamin and vitamin C. The Denina found them also useful as food supplement for dogs and applied sap from the stem to wounds, believing it to have anti-inflammatory properties. Several researchers have studied this taxon. Heinrich Karl Hausknecht in the late 19th century and Peter H. Raven about a century later researched the phylogeny, systematics, and taxonomy of willowherbs. Peter Michaelis' studies of this genus paved the way for understanding of extranuclear inheritance in plants. Species. The National Museum of Natural History recognizes an intermediate number of about 197 species in 10 sections, and consider the former section Chamaenerion equals Chamerion as a distinct genus. Other sources may list 1 or 2 dozen species, more or less. Section Boisduvalia. Epilobium densiflorum densiflower willowherb, dense spike-primrose, dense Boisduvalia. Epilobium pallidum largiflower spike-primrose. Epilobium pygmaeum pygmy willowherb smooth Boisduvalia. Epilobium subdentatum main leavens and hock. Epilobium taurietaris willowherb, brook spike-primrose section cordylophorum. Subsection Natalia epilobium suffruticosum nut. Extor. And a gray shrubby willowherb subsection Petrolobium, Epilobium nevadens, Munce Nevada willowherb. Epilobium niveum brandagii snow mountain, willowherb section crossostigma. Epilobium foliosum leafy willowherb, California willowherb. Epilobium minutum chaparral willowherb, desert willowherb, small flower willowherb section Epilobiopsis. Epilobium campestre jeps. Hock and W. L. Wagner. Wagner. Epilobium cleistogamum selfing willowherb section, Macrocarpa. Epilobium rigidum stiff willowherb, Siskiyou Mountains willowherb section, Xerolobium. Epilobium brachycarpum tall willowherb, tall annual willowherb, tall fireweed, panicled willowherb section, Zauschneria. Epilobium canum Zauschneria, California fuchsia, hummingbird flower, hummingbird trumpet. Epilobium septentrionale northern willowherb, Humboldt County fuchsia. Section Epilobium. Epilobium aitchisonia P.H. Raven. Epilobium algidum M. Beebe. Epilobium alpinum. Epilobium alpester Jack Croc. Epilobium alcinifolium Vil. Chickweed willowherb. Epilobium alcinoides A. Kun. Epilobium alcinoides SSB. Alcinoids. Epilobium alcinoides SSB. Afroplicifolium A. Kun P.H. Raven and Angelhorn. Epilobium alcinoides SSB. Tenuipes Hook. F.P.H. Raven and Angelhorn. Epilobium amurense Hoskin. Epilobium amurense SSB. Amurense. Epilobium amurense SSB. Cephalostigma Hoskin. C.J. Chen, Hock and P.H. Raven. Epilobium anagalidifolium alpine willowherb, pimpernel willowherb. Epilobium anatolicum Hoskin. Epilobium anatolicum SSB. Anatolicum. Epilobium anatolicum SSB. Prionophyllum Hoskin. P.H. Raven and Raven. Epilobium angustum Cheeseman P.H. Raven and Angelhorn. Epilobium arcticum Sam. Arctic willowherb. Epilobium stonii, Allen pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium atlanticum litard, and Mare, Epilobium australopopig and Hoskin, Epilobium barbayanum H. Lev, Epilobium billardarianum Sir, glabrous willow herb, Epilobium billardarianum ssp, billardarianum, Epilobium billardarianum ssp, Cinerium A. rich, pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium billardarianum ssp, Hydrophyllum pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium billardarianum ssp, Intermedium pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium blinea H. Lev, Epilobium brevifolium D. Don, Epilobium brevifolium ssp, Brevifolium, Epilobium brevifolium ssp, Trichonium Hoskin, pH raven and ravenin, Epilobium brevipes Hook, F. Epilobium brevisquamatum pH raven, Epilobium brunescens cocaine pH raven, and angelhorn New Zealand willowherb, Epilobium brunescens ssp, Bulgliholi kr. West and pH raven, Epilobium brunescens ssp, brunescens, Epilobium brunescens ssp, Minutiflorum cocaine pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium capens Butchinger x Hopst, Epilobium shenanthum Hoskin, Epilobium chitralens pH raven, Epilobium chlorifolium Hoskin, Epilobium ciliatum fringed willowherb, American willowherb, Epilobium clarkinum Hoskin, Epilobium clavatum talus willowherb, clavate fruit willowherb, Epilobium collinum C. G. melon, Epilobium coloratum beeler purpleleaf willowherb, Epilobium confertifolium Hook, F. Epilobium confusum Hoskin, Epilobium conjungens Scots, Epilobium crassum Hook, F. Epilobium courtesy pH raven, Epilobium cylindricum D. Don, Epilobium davuricum fish, X. hornum, Dorian willowherb, Epilobium densifolium Hoskin, Epilobium denticulatum Ruiz and Pav, Epilobium ditzneranum Schulter, X. deals, Epilobium durii gay X. Goddard, Epilobium fangiae C. J. Chen, Hawk and pH raven, Epilobium fastigiatorum nakai, Epilobium foriae H. Lev, Epilobium forbesii Allen, Epilobium fragile Sam, Epilobium frigidum Hoskin, Epilobium fugitivum pH raven and angelhorn, Epilobium jamesins C. A. May, Epilobium glabellum G. Forst, smooth spike primrose, Epilobium glaberrimum glaucus willowherb, Epilobium glacial pH raven, Epilobium glaucum Phil, Epilobium goodii pH raven, Epilobium gracilipes Kirk, Epilobium griffithianum Hoskin, Epilobium gunnianum Hoskin, Epilobium halenum glandular willowherb, Epilobium hectorii Hoskin, Epilobium hirsutum great willowherb, great hairy willowherb, codlins and cream, apple pie, cherry pie, Epilobium hirtigerum A. Kun, Epilobium hohuanens S. Ying, 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 S. Ying. Epilobium hooglindii pH raven, Epilobium hornimania RCHB, Hornimans willowherb, Epilobium hornimanii SSB, Beringianum Hoskin, Hawk and pH raven, Epilobium hornimanii SSB, Hornimaniae, Epilobium howelii Yuba Pass willowherb, subalpine fireweed, Epilobium indicum Hoskin, Epilobium insulaire Hoskin, Epilobium kermodi pH ravenin, Epilobium caesari deals, Epilobium kingdonii pH raven, Epilobium comarovianum H. Lev, bronzy willowherb, Epilobium lactiflorum milk-flower willowherb, white flower willowherb, Epilobium lanceolatum sebest, and Maury spear-leaved willowherb, Epilobium laxum royal, Epilobium laeophyllum hoskin, Epilobium leptocarpum hoskin, slenderfruit willowherb, Epilobium leptophyllum bog willowherb, linear-leaved willowherb, Epilobium luteum persiello willowherb, Epilobium macropus hook, Epilobium margaretii brocchi, Epilobium matthewsii petri, Epilobium macilesii Muntz, E. Muntz, Epilobium melanocolon hook, Epilobium microphyllum A. rich, Epilobium minutiflorum hoskin, Epilobium mirabile trell, Olympic mountain willowherb, Epilobium montanum broad-leaved willowherb, Epilobium nankatazean and siamem, Nankatazean willowherb, Epilobium nerteroides A. Kun, Epilobium nivale mayan, Epilobium nummulariifolium R. Kun, X. A. Kun, Epilobium newtons F. W. Schmidt, Epilobium obcordatum rock-fringe willowherb, Epilobium obscurum shrub, dwarf willowherb, short-fruited willowherb, Epilobium organum grants pass willowherb, Oregon fireweed, Epilobium orgonans Oregon willowherb, Epilobium pallidiflorum Sol, X. A. Kun, Epilobium paluster marsh willowherb, Epilobium panosum hoskin, Epilobium parviflorum shrub, small-flowered willowherb, hoary willowherb, Epilobium pedicellare C. pressel, Epilobium pedunculaire A. Kun, rockery willowherb, Epilobium peñier C. J. Chen, hawk and P.H. raven, Epilobium pernicans cockane and allen, Epilobium purpusillum hoskin, Epilobium petrium henan, Epilobium pictum petri, Epilobium platystigmatosum C. B. Robb, Epilobium ponticum hoskin, Epilobium porphyrium G. Simpson, Epilobium prostratum warb, Epilobium ciliatum Mayer and Sam, Epilobium pubens A. rich, Epilobium pubereolum hook, and arm, Epilobium purpuratum hook F, Epilobium pycnostachium hoskin, Epilobium pyracolophum French, and Sav, Epilobium richingeri P.H. raven, Epilobium richispermum Bois, Epilobium roseum shrub, pale willowherb, Epilobium roseum ssb, Consimile hoskin, P.H. raven, Epilobium roseum ssb, Roseum, Epilobium roseum ssb, Subsessile Bois P.H. raven, Epilobium ristratum Cheeseman, Epilobium rotundifolium G. Forst, Epilobium roylinum hoskin, Epilobium rupicolum Pavlov, Epilobium salignum hoskin, Epilobium sarmentaceum hoskin, Epilobium saxamontanum hoskin, Rocky Mountain willowherb, Epilobium succulents hoskin, Epilobium sinens H. Lev, Epilobium siskiauens, Siskiyou willowherb, Siskiyou fireweed, Epilobium smithii H. Lev, Epilobium staintonii P.H. raven, Epilobium stereophyllum frescen, Epilobium stricaenum hoskin, Epilobium strictum mul, downy willowherb, stiff spike-primrose, Epilobium subalgidum hoskin, Epilobium subcoriaceum hoskin, Epilobium subnivale Popov X. Pavlov, Epilobium taiwanianum C. J. Chen, hawk and P.H. raven, Epilobium tasmanicum hoskin, Epilobium tetragonum L. square-stemmed willowherb, Epilobium tetragonum ssb, Lamy F. W. Schultz-Nyman, Epilobium tetragonum ssb, Tetragonum, Epilobium tetragonum ssb, Tournefortia Michaelit H. Lev, Epilobium transgenicum Pavlov, Epilobium tibetanum hoskin, Epilobium trichophyllum hoskin, Epilobium verninicum snowdrop, Epilobium wallachianum hoskin, Epilobium warragan snablek, Epilobium watchunum hoskin, Epilobium williamsii P.H. raven, Epilobium willisii P.H. raven, and Angelhorn, Epilobium wilsonii Cheeseman, Epilobium x wisconsinense Ugent Wisconsin willowherb equals E. ciliatum ssb,
Ciliatum xe coloratum. Former Chamaenerion group. Formerly placed here. Stylidium tenellum as e tonkinense it is possible. Footnotes.